Hi guys, today we will see ARDS, that is acute respiratory distress syndrome. As the name suggests, it's a syndrome with multiple risk factors that trigger the acute onset of respiratory insufficiency. Regarding the definition, there are multiple variations in the definition and it has changed over a time a lot. Initially it was devised in 1967, then maybe changed again in early 90s, and then again, as there is no perfect definition, then in 2011 in the Berlin it was given a consensus about definition, which is known as the latest 2012 Berlin definition of ARDS. According to that, it is acute diffuse inflammatory lung injury which is leading to increased pulmonary vascular permeability, increased lung weight, and loss of aerated lung tissue, along with hypoxemia and bilateral radiographic opacities, which is associated with ultimately increased venous admixture, increased physiological dead space, and decreased lung compliance. Now this definition is tricky one and is definitely difficult to memorize it and then speak in an exam accurately. So basically, whenever you are asked about the definition, you speak this thing, then you give the general idea what are the key components of this new definition. It has to be acute, means there is insult and then the manifestation, there is less than 1 week time in that. Then the association of bilateral opacities, which is consistent with pulmonary edema, must be present and may be detected on CT or chest radiograph. The PF ratio, that is the ratio between the the arterial oxygen pressure and the fraction of inspired oxygen, FiO2. It has to be less than 300 millimeter of mercury with minimum of 5 centimeter of water PEEP given. It must not be fully explained by the cardiac failure or fluid overload. In the physician's best estimation using available information, an objective assessment like echocardiography should be performed in most cases if there is no clear cause such as trauma or sepsis. Guys, please mind that the previous definition, which was including the PAWP, pulmonary artery wedge pressure, which is again it can be only derived from the invasive assessment of the pulmonary vasculature, the central line or the Swan-Ganz catheter, which is removed from this definition. So now you have to have the positive pressure and expiration, ventilation, and then the PF ratio must be less than 300. Then it is defined as ARDS, and then you must have other criteria which has to be like acute. There should be no other cause which can be explained, and there must be the imaging picture of this ARDS. So again, by definition, it is acute syndrome of variety of factors which is causing the acute respiratory distress. How do you define the respiratory distress? By the PF ratio with PEEP of 5. How do you define the respiratory involvement? By the bilateral opacities on the imaging. How do you define acute? That is, there is an insult. Yeah, sorry for the interruption. And then how do you define a severity of ARDS? Based on the PF ratio, and based on that there is a given mortality. Like in mild, you have mortality expected around 27%. So you see, even in the mild cases of ARDS, mortality is very high. In moderate it is 32%, and severe is almost 45%. So almost half the patient we lose in these cases. So that is why it is always important to prevent ARDS, and once it happens, then to diagnose it early and treat early. So what is the pathogenesis of ARDS? There are two phases. One is acute phase, one is chronic phase. Acute phase is where there is insult, and then you have capillary endothelial destruction because of the inflammatory markers wandering around in the bloodstream. So ultimately they will cause extravasation of protein rich fluid, and there will be interstitial edema. Now the cytokine will lead to alveolar membrane damage. There are two types of pneumatocytes, if you remember, type 1 and type 2. Type 1 are important for the gas exchanges, and type 2 are important for the surfactant manufacturing and then distribution. So you have both of them damaged. So now you have less surfactant, you have more of the fluid inside the alveolar spaces. Then also your type 1 pneumatocytes are damaged, so the gas exchange is also affected. So you have stiffening of the lung tissue, reduced compliance, VQ mismatch. So suppose if you treat the patient survives, and then comes the chronic phase. Though then two of the things can happen. Basically it can either resolve without much of a problem, or there will be ongoing scarring, which is a common scenario, and then it will lead to interstitial fibrosis and decreased quality of life and pulmonary function over the period of time, and sort of interstitial lung disease. So basically chronic phase is characterized by fibroproliferation and organization of the lung tissue. What are the causes which can cause ARDS? There are two varieties of causes, either related to the direct lung injury or indirect lung injury. Of them, again, it can be divided into two common and less common causes. So what are the commonest causes? Commonest causes are pneumonia of any variety, which is a widespread infection of the lung tissue because of the viral, bacterial, mycoplasma, tuberculosis, or Pneumocystis carinii kind of organisms. Or there is aspiration of gastric contents, which is the one of the commonest cause of ARDS in hospitalized patients who are like comatose, and they cannot have the proper gag reflex, and that is the reason we use proton pump inhibitors in patients who are like in ICU. One of the reason of using PPIs in those patients. Then you have common causes in direct lung injury. The commonest cause will be the sepsis. Sepsis of any cause can cause this. Then you have severe trauma with shock and multiple transfusion. Here again, lungs or chest trauma may or may not be there, but it may affect the lung function. Less common causes can be pulmonary contusion, fat emboli, near drowning, inhalational injury, reperfusion pulmonary edema after transplant, or pulmonary embolectomy. Other indirect uncommon causes are cardiopulmonary bypass, acute pancreatitis, blood transfusion, drug overdose, drugs like heroin, methadone, barbiturates, acetylic acid, and paraquat. How will you manage this patient? According to the care of critically ill surgical patients, ABCDE approach you will follow, and then after that, you have made the patient stable for acute thing, then you will go for the treating the underlying cause if possible, and if it is already stopped, then move on for the symptomatic treatment. The main treatment for ARDS is respiratory management, which we will discuss in the next slide, which is like basically out of the scope of MRCS, and as a surgeon you must know just the bit about it, not the details. So how will you manage patient respiratorily, we will see in the next slide. And the other things you manage by like fluid, if it is already there overloaded, then you need to make the patient dry. You will give you will restrict the fluids and you will give diuretics. The patient is dehydrated, then you will go for the proper adequate hydration. If the patient is still in shock, then you will add inotropes. If there is a sepsis, then you will do the source control and the broad spectrum antibiotics and the sepsis 6 guidelines, you know already. Then you also watch for the nutrition. Low dose steroids, controversial thing in ARDS. It is used in specific things, in specific scenarios, but not in the mild cases for sure. Control the pain, avoid venous thromboembolism and gastric stress ulceration by giving analgesics, anticoagulants, and PPIs. Then you can also add prone position and to do alveolar recruitment maneuvers to gain the redundant alveoli to gain the respiratory function. Now this slide is a little busy. You can go into the details of it if you want, but basically what you have to understand in ARDS based on the criteria, if it is mild, moderate, or severe. See, remember your definition, you are already providing the patient PEEP. PEEP only you can provide with some kind of ventilation, either invasive or non-invasive. So your patient is already on some ventilation, so just giving them oxygen is out of question if it is already established kind of ARDS. So now you're talking about the management of ARDS itself. So giving oxygen to the patient of ARDS definitely is the first step, but once it is established ARDS, the oxygenation is out of question because we have moved to the ventilation step. Okay, so for the mild ARDS, you can continue non-invasive ventilation, and for moderate to severe ARDS, it will be definitely invasive kind of ventilation. Now there are specific criteria to maintain the PF ratio and all that you can get from the slides, but not required for the MRCS exam. So the key management principles of ARDS. So this is what you need to remember: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Perform early clinical determination of respiratory difficulty. Perform objective assessment with arterial blood gas and chest radiograph. Provide supplemental oxygen. Monitor saturation. Investigate risk factors for ARDS. Determine the need for intubation and mechanical ventilation. Use the low tidal volume, low plateau pressure, lung protective ventilator strategies, because the most of the patients who have bad outcomes after ARDS treatment is because of the treatment itself, because of the barotrauma. You can read and search more about the barotrauma, which is basically when you are using higher PEEP pressures and long-term ventilation that causes damage due to the pressure, positive pressure. Then optimize fluid status, nutrition, pulmonary toileting, and treat the complications as required, and consider transfer to the higher centers if it is required. What can be the complications of ARDS? It can be divided into the systems. Now we are dealing with the lungs, so first pulmonary thing. Okay, so pulmonary, as I mentioned, barotrauma, volutrauma, pulmonary embolism, pulmonary fibrosis, ventilator associated pneumonia, oxygen toxicity. GI related can have gastric stress ulcers and hemorrhage from that, dysmotility, that is ileus, pneumoperitoneum because of the again trauma and lots of gases going inside. Because of the pressure, it can do perforation somewhere. Bacterial translocation, that can happen in any case of severe critically ill patients. Cardiac problems can be arrhythmias, myocardial dysfunction, renal, acute renal failure, fluid retention. Here, because you are giving positive pressure ventilation, it will affect the venous return, cardiac output and everything, so all the systems are affected. Mechanical, vascular injury, tracheal injury, then nutritional, malnutrition, anemia, electrolyte. These all things are generally related to the patient's critical status, not specific only for the ARDS. Any critically ill patients in the ICU will have these complications, can have these complications. The long-term sequelae of ARDS, again it can be divided into the respiratory and non-respiratory. Respiratory is pulmonary hypertension, VQ mismatch, and pulmonary fibrosis, pulmonary dysfunction, interstitial lung disease kind of a disease. Then non-respiratory can be long-term cognitive impairment, psychological problems, post-traumatic stress disorders, neuromuscular weakness, ongoing healthcare utilization, and reduced quality of life. So this encompasses all the topic is enough for the MRCS Part B examination. If you are interested, you can go and search the NHS guidelines for ARDS, but they will be given for the medical person or the pulmonologist. So for as a surgeon, as a foundation year trainee, this much is enough. Thank you for watching this, and please subscribe this channel if you need to have more content in future like this. I will be really happy to help you guys. Thank you so much.